Paper documents continue to persist in our daily lives. People continue to encounter paper-based transactions that require reading, writing, and signing paper documents. Examples include paper receipts, legal documents, bank checks, hospital forms, and mailing ballots. While it is straightforward for sighted people to write and affix their signatures on paper, for people who are blind, this is challenging. When it comes to writing, blind people rely on sighted peers for assistance. For example, a sighted person would fill out the form and then guide the blind person's hand to the signature field to affix his or her signature. However, such assistance may not always be readily available, but more troublingly, having to depend on others for writing always comes with a loss of privacy. A recent work describes a smartphone-based writing aid called Wig. Wig uses a 3D printed attachment to keep the phone upright on a flat table and redirects the focus of the phone's camera to the document that is placed in front of it. The user receives audio instructions to slide the signature guide to different form fields. However, Wig provides no readouts of the text and only supports stepping through form fields one by one without backtracking. Wig also requires a flat table to keep the paper and the phone stationary during use. We present PaperPal to address these limitations. PaperPal is a wearable smartphone-based assistant for filling out paper forms that can be used in both stationary and non-stationary scenarios such as clipboards. With PaperPal, users can step through forms back and forth and read the text in the forms. We started the design of PaperPal with a Wizard of Oz pilot study with 8 blind participants to understand the feasibility of filling paper forms on a clipboard using a wearable. The study included paper forms placed on both flat disks and portable clipboards, with the wearable cameras worn over the chest or attached to glasses. The two main takeaways that emerged from this study was that participants preferred the wearable on the chest, and that it was not feasible to use signature guide while writing on a clipboard. Informed by our pilot study, we designed a 3D printed holder to convert an off-the-shelf smartphone into a hands-free wearable on the chest. A lanyard is attached to the lifting lock to wear the holder around the neck. The tilt angle can be adjusted and it can support upright placement of the phone on the desk. The L-shaped fork can be rotated by the user to adjust the tilt angle. Thus, PaperPal is a more flexible form-filling assistant. PaperPal uses the phone's camera to observe the user's actions. Specifically, PaperPal utilizes the visual markers attached to the pen and paper along with the camera calibration to locate pen relative to the paper. In addition, pen gestures are detected based on the same markers. The pen position and gestures determine the audio responses, which can be text readouts, navigation, and writing instructions that are generated in real time. Here is an example of how PaperPal can be used. The user can point the pen to a text item which will be read out. Rotating the pen to the right or left will select next or previous item. Bidirectional rotate is used to start navigation to a form field. When reaching to the form field, the user receives audio instructions for writing. To evaluate PaperPal, a user study with 8 blind participants was conducted. In this study, participants used PaperPal to fill out 4 paper forms as shown in the slide: a bank check, a receipt, a lease agreement, and a consent form. We evaluated how users filled out forms using PaperPal. We observed that participants were able to fill out forms in time, ranging from 1 minute and 23 seconds to 3 minutes and 83 seconds. To evaluate the accuracy, we measured the field overlap shown on the left. Field overlap is the percentage of the rectangular bounding box enclosing the participant's written content that falls into the ground truth rectangle region of the field. We also asked 3 human evaluators to assess whether each of the form fields were correctly filled out by the participants. The final verdict was rendered via majority voting. The human assessment of form filling accuracy is shown on the right. The results of the study showed that blind participants were able to fill out forms with high accuracy and in time using PaperPal. For more details, please refer to the paper.